welcome to RT Breakfast Show. It is the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show right here on Cabinet TV. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm Tapelo Joe Smata. Now this morning we host Mr. Dennis Mutumba. He is a good governance advocate and he's here to discuss with us a number of issues, from the issues that are affecting Shibuyunji district to the issues that have to do with the constitutional amendments, to matters arising from the cyber law that had a second reading yesterday in Parliament. The bill has been taken to Parliament and yesterday it had a second reading. Mr. Mutumba, good to see you and welcome.
Thank you so very much, Joe, and thank you so much to the viewers out there that are watching this breakfast show.
Okay, sure. Good to have you here. First things first, how is Shibuyunji?
Well, Shibuyunji is okay.
Okay.
In terms of agriculture activities, I think Shibuyunji will record a bumper harvest.
Okay.
Except, challenges are always there. But today, I think, let me also highlight what is going on, especially to our electorates and also members of Shibuyunji and Mwembechi constituency.
Okay.
We have a challenge, where labor matters are concerned. We have a company that has employed a bigger number of our people, but there have been a lot of complaints where, conditions of service are very bad.
Okay.
Workers there at that industry, because they have a sugar plantation, they don't have even what we call PPP.
Okay.
Okay, so there have been a lot of, cries for the last many years. Condition of services are very bad. But I'm wondering what the Labour Ministry is doing, because I've addressed and attended to many issues and the complaints that were coming, being the advocate, being also the activist on behalf of the people, and also being an advocate of international labor matters. I've had a lot of reports.
Okay.
Right now, as I'm speaking, many workers are not handsomely paid. Many workers are suffering. Transportation is very bad. But there is a complaint that there is one manager who is mistreating them. And at one time I spoke to him, I think, trying to, look at how he's mistreating the workers, but he objected the report.
Okay.
But even after objecting the report, many others are still coming that he's still mistreating them. So it is one issue that leadership, I think, should address, and also the Labour Commission should make sure that, they revisit Sebo company to make sure that all the workers are working very well. Their service, the condition of service are good, and, they are well paid according to the labor regulations. There've never been follow-ups to look at. We have a labor officer that side, but it seems something is going on. So that is a main challenge that our people are facing, because when those people are paid, economic activities, they boost, because it is the only company that has a larger number of employees. So if they are complaining, at the end of the day, there is termination of contracts. People are working are not given contracts to sign. So there is a lot of things that are happening. Apart from that, Joe, we have a challenge of a road.
Okay.
The road must be worked on. But our leaders, it seems, they are giving us information that is not right, information that is not certified. There is misinformation between leaders that are communicating to us that the road is coming. Sometimes we could see in the newspapers there is an advertisement of the construction of this same road, but years are going and time is also running out. Roads are impassable. I've delayed, we've started earlier on, but because of a bad road network. So we are calling upon the government to speed up the process to give us a tarmac, because that is what people are looking forward to.
Okay.
I think so far this is how Shibuyunji is looking. Challenges of workers, road network, that is the main cry of the people. But we pray. The government assured us. I remember our MP tried to question the Vice President as to when the road will be done. The answer from the Vice President was it will be considered under the 2025 budget. But at the same time, we are hearing that the road is beginning in April. So we don't know how truthful the information is, which is coming from the MP. The DC also has a different story. So now, the commissioning of this road is not an easy undertaking. It is something that, you know, at the end of the day, nearly everybody will get to know. But, you know, there is this information that is coming, the road is coming. When that time comes, there is another change of story. So now we pray, and we are praying harder that the government consider us to give us a tarmac. That is when Shibuyunji will fully develop.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, now let's go to matters that have to do with constitutional amendments, Mr. Mutumba. But let me pick your mind on your views when you heard, for instance, that there will be constitutional amendments. And yesterday, the Minister of Information and Media did announce through the media to the nation that the Minister of Justice this week will be able to avail to the Zambian public the clauses and articles that need to be amended. And he emphasized that these are non-contentious, meaning they do not rise or they do not raise arguments. These are non-contentious issues. But let me find out from you, what was your initial reaction when you heard about these proposed amendments?
It is a culture that every government that comes into power, that is governing, they review the constitution and they discover a lot of, you know, errors in the constitution. I think you've observed from way back 1991, we had a lot of, you know, amendments. Now, let me just add my voice to the current hot debate of amendment of the constitution.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong to amend the constitution if need be.
Okay.
But at the moment, because we are not told fully what are some of the clauses that will be amended, so I can just maybe you know, think that most of the clauses for sure were already highlighted by the president, and these are non-contentious you know, clauses where maybe you and me would begin to get worried. Of course, a number of opposition political parties and other, you know, CSOs are complaining, saying that maybe there is a secret gimmick that is going to happen, but it's not the case. Okay. What we are going to do as Zambians, let us be patient, let us not panic, because every amendment of the constitution is subject for scrutiny, meaning, you know, independent stakeholders, government businesses, traditional leaders, you know, religious organization, and the people of Zambia are there to be represented so that, you know, we begin to analyze and assess, are these clauses good for the people? So there is that time that will come, though people are saying, why could it be that the government of the UPND has brought the amendment issue or business when we are just about to get into election? Is it too late for us to undergo such a process? It is not too late. It depends on the finances and the cost of doing this process, okay? Where this government must be aware at what period are we going to exhaust, okay, and accepting and rejecting what has been amended, because there must be a broader consultation. Of course, the government could have consulted, and they've come up with non-contentious clauses that even the president mentioned of, you know, the inclusivity of young people and women in parliament or in leadership, and also issues to do with delimitation. Now, remember, the issue of delimitation was not started by the UPN. It was started way back in 2016 by the PF, by then given Lubinda was the Minister of Justice. They highlighted, as you know, the processes of delimiting the district, the constituencies, the wards. And it is what UPN now is more considerate. Should we have delimitation program, what are some of the benefits? I think to you and me, many constituencies, districts, wards are too bigger, such that, you know, civic leaders and also civil servants that are working with those that we voted in power are failing even to reach certain ends of their constituencies, their districts, and their wards. So now, to me, an uncontentious issue like delimitation is okay for the Zambians. This brings development. You understand?
But why do it before an election?
What they will have done, the only thing, my only concern, being also an independent, advocate that is trying to assess, UPN will have done this area just after they were voted into power. But we don't know the reason why it has delayed up to this date. Okay? We need to understand, we need to investigate what could be the reasons. Maybe also the Minister of Justice can give us information and highlights why this delayment. But according to what I've been, following, I understood that the submissions of the amendment of the Constitution was done earlier, way back in 2021, if not mistaken. And this is the truth.
So who was consulted?
So now, of course, there is, consultations before a draft is brought. Okay, now, when we talk about, maybe let's make it easy to make everybody understand what is a draft constitution. This is a preliminary version of a write-up that is subject to scrutiny. So meaning there are certain, organizations that are consulted in that draft.
In secrecy?
Yes, not in secrecy, it has been happening.
But Mr. Mutumba, what I'm trying to understand is the former Justice Minister gave that statement that the draft was being done in is it 2021?
Yes.
However, the current Justice Minister says there's no draft constitution, and now she will be coming to the general public through the media to give proposed clauses that are going to be amended, Mr. Mutumba. So the question is, number one, why now? Is this a priority? Why do we need to amend the constitution now, before a general election?
There is no law in the constitution that, guides at what time the country should present, a draft constitution. Okay, with, amendments and the clauses in the constitution. There is no law. Okay, it is just maybe people are worried because maybe the process can take time. Such that, the focus to go for a general election may also be a little bit, it may bring panic maybe in some ways. But there is no law under our constitution that guides at what time can a government present a draft constitution. So the government itself must just be considerate of the time, because the process, needs ample time. And there must be a budget for that, because it involves stakeholders. You understand? Now, if it is so quick that we amend now, people are concerned, and maybe opposition political parties are also worried. But at the moment, the non-contentious clauses have been mentioned, but we don't know further what other clauses will appear, which now stakeholders must debate, analyze, accept or reject. Just like the way butane came, it was subject for debate. Finally, the conclusion, people's views represented by those that are in parliament were seen, and that bill was dropped. It is equal to the constitutional amending process. When we talk about a draft, it is not done in secret. There are stakeholders that are consulted, that are bought to submit the clauses that are to be amended. Thereafter, it is brought now to the public. This is what is provided for in the clauses that are to be amended. Then now NGOs are invited, religious organizations are invited, traditional leaders representation is invited, and many other businesses, institutions, they also come on board.
Okay, maybe the uncertainty is being fueled by what a named government official said when he appeared on one of our sister companies, if you like, on one of the radio stations, where he said that there have been constitutional amendments in the past, the Chona Commission, Mr. Mutumba, the Mutumba Commission, the Vunga Commission, and people already decided what to put or what to reject and what to accept. So all this information will be gathered from there and hence a draft will be formulated. Yeah. So now that has raised concerns to say no. You can't have this process being done in your backyard. As a political party, you need to involve an advocate such as Mr. Mutumba. You need to involve journalists. You need to involve the church. You need to involve civil society organizations. However, again, that statement was given. Then we saw the Justice Minister saying there's no draft constitution. The President, on the other hand, when he was in Western Province on Youth Day, he did make mention that somebody wants to sponsor the youths to go and protest. However, what are they going to protest about when they do not know what's in the draft constitution? So already people have started saying, is there a draft constitution that the Zambian public are not aware of? However, the Minister of Justice said there is no draft constitution. So all these inconsistencies in statements from government officials are raising these uncertainties in the Zambian people. Mr. Mutumba.
In the first place, Joe, and the viewers out there, we must have protocol on how to communicate to the people.
Okay.
If it is not right for the president to communicate there and then, there must be somebody who is mandated to communicate. Of course, matters to do with constitution are done in the office of the Minister of Justice. This is a key ministry that submit after a broader consultation. Now, this is a very simple matter.
Okay.
When you talk about the draft, whether one says it's not there, it's there, it will be submitted tomorrow or the other time. The truth is, before anything is brought for public consumption, there is a board that sits to submit where they feel here we can amend, here we can leave it the way it is, here we are suggesting A, B, C, D. Are we agreeing as a board after that broader consultation from stakeholders? There is a first stakeholders submission, okay, that you and me may not know who was invited. But if you want to find out, the submissions will be given to say this institution was involved, this institution was invited, this person was invited, he was part of the submission of a draft constitution, because a draft is a write-up that is not final and it is subject for debate. Now, when this draft is brought forth by the minister, it is when now people understand, oh, the 50+1% has been removed. Oh, there is an increment of 10 years for presidency. There is delimitation, which is a non-contentious issue. There is inclusivity of leadership for women and young people. Then now, stakeholders are invited.
Okay.
NGOs are invited, as I just earlier indicated. That is when now they will submit, accepting or rejecting. Then it will go for parliament approval. So there is nothing to worry much. Whatever will be brought forth as an amendment, if it's good for the people, it is the majority that will accept. The minority will lose.
Okay.
That is a simple procedure.
Let me find out from you, Mr. Mutumba. In 2010, the MMD government also embarked on constitutional amendments, which failed lamentably. We saw the PF coming also through Bill 10. It failed lamentably. The UPND have started this process. Do you think this is a process in futility?
As long as the clauses that are to be amended are good for the people, then there is fertility.
Okay. Now,
you get the point. Now, let me tell you one thing. I want just to caution opposition political party, because UPND, they objected a Bill 10. In the same Bill 10, there were provisions that were good for the Zambian people. So now, what goes around comes around.
Exactly.
I need to be very factual. They are now governing. They've now realized to say, okay, what was presented which we objected at that time, it had a bad seed and a good seed. Now, let's begin to pick good things in that bill. Even under the amendment of this constitution, there are certain provisions and clauses that are not okay, which needs to be amended. You must agree, you and me. opposition should not just mislead the nation. They must be very truthful, because we have not yet seen or maybe heard what is provided for in the amendment process. You and me, we may just suggest this is what is coming, but the truth is will be presented by the Minister of Justice.
But the unfortunate
then you will
thing,
begin to debate.
The unfortunate thing, Mr. Mutumba, this is a national document. It's not a political party manifesto,
Yeah.
which can be changed at a party secretariat without consulting anybody. That's the preserve of a political party. However, this is a national document that will live and stand the test of time. When the current politicians have gone long and forgotten, this is a document that needs to be handled with the utmost care. Now, the Republican president hinted in Kasama, it's on public record. We are just reporting what is already there. He said the women have agreed to amend the constitution. Okay? His party functionaries came and said the president was misquoted. He didn't say the women have agreed. He was misquoted. He went to Western Province and he said the youths have agreed. There was nobody now to come and defend, to say he has been misquoted. Okay? He talked about women proportional representation. He talked about including the youths in governance. However, when you look at Article 259 of the Constitution, it provides that whoever assumes public office should, in their appointments, balance regionally. Okay, all tribes, all ethnic groups have to be included when selecting or appointing members to a certain office. It also provides that women also need to be represented. It also provides that the youth also need to be represented. It also provides that persons living with disabilities, if and when they qualify for a certain position, they also need to be included. It's there in the Constitution. Article 59 provides for all that. So now the question is, why talk about women proportionate representation when the Constitution already provides for that? Why begin to amend the Constitution based on that? We are not saying that's what's going to happen, but this has come from government functionaries, party officials, suggesting that these clauses have to be amended. But we do have Article 259 that already provides for that. And the question is, why hasn't the UPND demonstrated that already in its appointment of district commissioners, permanent secretaries, Mr. Mutumba, and also ministers in cabinet, women being represented, the youth being represented, persons with disabilities being represented? Why hasn't this happened? Why should we amend the Constitution to achieve what already needs to be achieved?
I think that clause and that provision in the Constitution, okay, Article 259, it has been there. Okay, it's mandatory that every president who comes, there must be equality in appointing leaders, okay, just like you mentioned. Now, this is not the only clause that is coming for amendment. Joe, I repeat, there are a number of clauses apart from that which is already in the Constitution.
Okay.
So forget about. Don't be more interested in what the president shared, even when he attended many other, events.
He's the number one citizen.
He's the number one.
And whatever he says,
yeah. So if it is good, if it is good that it's coming for review or revision, let us hear what is being reviewed under that article.
Okay.
That is what people should get. If it is there, why is the president giving more high right? Meaning there are certain, amendments within the same article. Let's just wait, then you and me will come back and talk about it.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic, Mr. Mutumba. I just wanted to bring in this clause, this article, to make sure that speculations out there die down. Okay. Okay. However, let's make progress, Mr. Mutumba. Let's go to the cyber bill.
Good.
Now it had a second reading yesterday, and again, eyebrows have been raised. Why now? Remember, this is a bill that the UPND opposition criticized. They said we are now conducting politics on social media. They are calling us social media politicians, and they are trying to gag us now. They are bringing this law to make sure that the youths do not express themselves, to make sure that us, the politicians, do not express ourselves. That's the UPND in opposition. It's there on social media. Their posts, whatever they used to post regarding this particular bill. However, yesterday this bill passed the second reading. We saw the Minister of Science and Technology, Honorable Felix Mutati, rising to the floor and reading some of these things. And we followed Parliament proceedings yesterday, and we saw what was happening. Now, the question that the Zambian people are saying, why bring this bill now, again, before the 2026 elections?
The panic is coming from opposition. That this bill has been presented very late. I'm aware.
Okay.
That the cyber law was mainly objected by the current government. The reason was they were feeling that maybe they'll be blocked from communicating through social media.
Okay.
The more concerns of the government, because it's a legal mandate by any government to enact regulations on how we can use social media. When you go to countries like America, UK, China, you cannot use social media anyhow. Why? It is because of, sophisticated people that are using social media, abusing social media, where you and me, we have in a record of young people that are trying to insult. And you'd wonder, when they are insulting like that, where are they? Is ZICTA doing its job? So the concern of the government is that sometimes it could be, we have a lot of scammers. For example, I've had about more than 10 friend requests on social media, Facebook, from the president. When I check who are the friends to this president and what does the president want from me, I discover that the person who is purporting to be making a friend request is not the actual president. It is a scammer. These are people later on who begin to introduce stories that does not sum up. So there have been a lot of abuse under social media and online communication in the country today. Even when you're insulting today, you can insult whilst you're not in the country, but how do we know that Joe is insulting in Kabata?
Okay.
So now, I'm in support to regulate cyber law. Okay? Now, at the end of the day, we are concerned with some of the restrictions and conditions set there in the bill.
Okay.
Where you and me now needs to get permission for us to go live.
On my phone?
On your phone. But if the process of accessing a license when you want to go live is easier.
Mr. Mutumba, this is Zambia.
If it's easier, then it's good. But if it restricts you and me, if I want to share my divergent view, then I think it's not a good bill for the Zambian people. We must be given freedom of expression. You and me must be very free, as long we don't break any law. So now, we have time to campaign now. Candidates are campaigning. Equally me, I'm a candidate next year. How do I communicate to people? How do I share my manifesto? It is through social media if I can't go on the ground. Now, communication is easier on the social media than to go on the ground because technology has made things so easier in terms of communicating.
Exactly.
So now, as they present this bill, some of the restrictions are not good for free Zambians who are supposed to be restricted, who are supposed to be allowed to communicate freely without having any license. And how are we going to access that license from IBA? They must explain to us. How do we just get those licenses? Because how many people have access to social media who should get a license when they want to go live. So we need to make things easier to make Zambians understand so that, you know, I'm just free. What is bad for us that are using social media is where now we are abusing social media. That is very bad. Maybe this could be the reason why there are new regulations on how to use cyber network.
But Mr. Mutumba, you know for a fact that if I, for instance, go online and demean you, insult your character, disrespect you, of course, there are laws that are provided for. It doesn't mean that when somebody is in the cyberspace, they commit a crime in the cyberspace, then in the physical world, you can't arrest them because that happened in the cyberspace. No. There are laws that are provided for, Mr. Mutumba. Do we need to come up with a law that seems restrictive to freedom of expression, Mr. Mutumba, when laws are already provided for? For instance, you have brought in the aspect of ZICTA. It has qualified, competent people that we have seen in the past or in the recent past.
Are you sure?
Yes.
They're
qualified, competent people, brilliant minds.
Really?
Yes, at ZICTA, brilliant minds. Where we have seen how they've apprehended certain people that thought they can do whatever they want to do in the cyberspace. They've been brought to book. Do we need a law now to be taken to, a bill to be taken to Parliament for it to be enacted into law that most Zambians or some sections of society consider to be a little bit restrictive when it comes to freedom of expression? Mind you, we are going to an election. This is raising a lot of eyebrows, Mr. Mutumba. On the other hand, you have the constitutional amendments that are being proposed. On the other hand, you have the high cost of living. You have the fuel pump prices soaring. And the Zambian people are saying, your priorities are misplaced. Why can't we look at reducing the cost of living? Then all these can come back after 2026 when the cost of living is addressed, when the fuel pump prices are addressed, Mr. Mutumba. Are we setting our priorities right as a country?
Joe, let me ride on what you have just said, that there is a lot of, you know, economical situation that we need to revisit so that we address the high cost of living. And why concentrate on matters that cannot solve the high cost of living? Issues like, you know, the bill of cyber law. Parliamentarians are voted into office to go and make good laws. You and me, I'm speaking now as an advocate of human rights.
Okay.
That you and me have every right to use social media as long as we don't abuse it. If we abuse it, then the law will face us.
Yes.
Now, I disagree if you are telling me that ZICTA has competent people.
Very competent.
ZICTA has no competent people. The reason is very simple.
Why do you say so?
Many Zambians are being scammed. Many people are abusing social medias. Those that are brought to book, how many are brought to book over abuse of, you know, cyber network? There is this boy who is busy insulting. I don't know the context in which he talks, he insults. Maybe as facts of what he talks about. You know, at one time I was just following, is it some 2 days ago, where he was saying, you know, Hagainde Ichilema is a gay. I felt bad. And I wondered as to whether what you're telling me now, that ZICTA is a professional body of scientists that are able to track people that are misusing and abusing, you know, cyber network. If they are professional, can you prove to me that a gentleman who is insulting, abusing social media has been arrested? Except one who was caught at the court there over matters of, you know, sponsoring some individuals to insult or maybe abuse social media. But we have a number of scammers. We have a number of people that abuse social media. ZICTA has failed to work effectively. You understand? So now, some of the bills, it's not that maybe I should support everything the New Dawn government is submitting in Parliament for debate. But I'm looking at, if, as you have just said, if I use social media and I abuse it, ZICTA must be able to trace me exactly where I am. We have a lot of scammers, like for example, in the okay, send me money and details for your son who applied for army, when in fact I don't have an older son. Is Zikta able to trace that this is a scammer?
But even the Zambia police, when you go to the Zambia police and they report that, the first thing they will do is to laugh at you. Number one, the first thing they will do is to laugh at you and take it lightly and ask you, why would you send money to a strange number? Number two, they'll say there's nothing we can do because apparently that's a scammer, they scammed you, your money is gone. What I'm saying, I've investigated these particular incidences, not once, not twice, but on a number of times, or in different police stations right here in Lusaka. This is why members of the public that are ignorant when it comes to these matters continue to be scammed, because when they seek help from the law enforcement agencies, such as the Zambia police, they are never helped. I have been there, I have witnessed such cases. They were never helped, and they were told, this is a poor mother, saying, this is the message we got, and we got excited. We borrowed money, 15,000 was sent to this person who was purporting to be an officer of the law, saying that our child was going to be recruited. He recently completed grade 12. We sent this money, he stopped picking, he blocked us, and we are here now seeking your help. An honest, a prudent officer, law enforcement agency, which works effectively, should be able to start investigating that matter. However, we have seen people that have got money in society, even when they are scammed or duped, a 5,000 kwacha, a 2,000 kwacha, those people that perpetrate that crime are brought to book. But my mother in Shangombo, my mother in Kaputa, my grandmother in Kwamugubudu, when such happens to her, it's a matter that these police officers forget about. They will even laugh about it. I have been there. I have seen this.
So, Joe, in the manner that you're explaining to me that there is no effectiveness when you report matters to do with, cyber crimes, why do you think we must not intensify regulations on cyber network and communication? This is the more reason why this bill is coming, okay, to consider certain restriction for people that are abusing social media, scamming people like just you are saying.
But how? If I want to go live, for instance, like you are.
So those are issues that we should consider in this bill.
For instance, Mr. Mutumba, if I want to go live, this is my phone, I want to go live. Are you telling me a law enforcement agency is going to come to me when I go live and maybe report on an incident that is currently happening? Are you telling me a law enforcement agency will come to me and say, you broke the law because you went live and you didn't get a license?
No.
My question, my concern, and these are coming from concerns that from people that we interact with, the Zambian people, they are saying, look, we already have sufficient laws that can deter people that go to an extent of even demeaning the office of the president. We already have laws that can deal with such people. Why then do we need a bill to be taken to parliament to say, no, we are stiffening cyber crimes, this is cyber security, anti-terrorism, whatever it's being called?
Espionage.
Espionage. Is that necessary?
Joe, let's be truthful.
Or this is targeted to political opponents?
Not really. To me, whether there is opposition political parties that are crying foul over this bill, I'm seeing that we are abusing social media. A number of young people, a number of people are abusing.
But there are laws in place already.
There are laws in place, but one question I will ask you: when this bill is brought forth for debate, what are some of the laws that have changed within the cybercrime laws?
We haven't been told.
So this is what we should be asking the parliamentarians. May they present that which was not there and what is new. Just like you said, there is already a clause in the Constitution.
Exactly.
Okay, 259, which says the president is mandated to appoint equally persons with a disability, young people, young women. Okay, and they marginalized. Now, the issue is we need to understand in this bill what are some of the restrictions. For example, if I want to hold a press briefing, I want to go live. It is indicated and provided for that I need to acquire a permission or a license from IBA. or maybe Zicta, I don't know. Okay, so now, what is just important under this bill is that we consider the provisions that are in this bill, what is good and what is bad. Let us remove what is not good for the people.
But has consultation been done? Has it been brought to the media? Has it been brought to advocates such as Mr. Mutumba and say, this is how the bill looks like before we take it to Parliament? Please go through and tell us what you agree with, what you do not agree with. We have received submissions before we take it to Parliament. Let's sieve it out. Now it's refined. Let's take it to Parliament. And this is what the parliamentarians are saying. They voted no or they voted yes. You know? So at the end of the day, these bills, these pieces of legislature, Mr. Mutumba, they border on national matters, not on a political party, not on an individual. These are national matters, and these will stand the test of time. I'll give you an example to what I'm saying. We had individuals in the MMD government who were ministers that opposed, for instance, the introduction of Channel O. There was a channel known as Channel O, and they opposed it. It's going to destroy the morals of our children. We don't need this. And the world was moving. Today, where are those ministers? Some of them are no more. Some of them, we know them, they're destitute. And yet, they are the ones that were restrictive to exposing our children to international music, to international, to an international audience. Okay? We have politicians today that feel they can craft laws, and these laws will protect them when they're in power or their tenure in power. However, history has shown us politicians come and go. So why can't we have laws that can stand the test of time and that put the interests of the Zambian people first, unlike a politician or a group of politicians first? Mr. Mutumba, we're not being told, for instance, what the clauses are going to be in the constitution that needs to be amended. It took public outcry. It took 9 NGOs standing up and saying, no, you can't amend the constitution minus consulting us. Now the minister is saying, no, the Minister of Justice will be coming to highlight these clauses. The Minister of Information is on record himself to have said, we do not need wider consultations because it's not the whole constitution that is going to be amended. We now have the cyber and security bill that went for a second reading in Parliament, and it will soon be enacted into law before the 2026 elections. This is raising eyebrows. Yes, you can say the opposition political party leaders, maybe they're just opposing or saying this and that, but the Zambian people themselves, what are they saying? That's the question we need to ask.
Joe, it is only, the body communique process that is in the country. I think it is the duty of, Information and Broadcasting Minister, who is the government spokesperson, to give a clear picture. Come on social media, come on television, come on radio station, publish it in the newspaper, electronic media, so that every person begins to understand. Now, we are governing this country using social media, of which many Zambians don't have much access to the information shared on social media. We have people like in Shangombo, we have people in Southern Province, we have people in Mwinilunga, we have people in Impika. How many people do we have that are on social media, that are registered on social media, that get information daily? You and me, we are debating. I don't know how many people are watching what we are debating today. Okay, so the concern of the people is that sometimes some of the bills, just like in Butane, it was very difficult for you and me to understand what was provided for in Butane. Believe you me, even up to now, some people are saying, what kind of an animal is Butane?
Exactly.
So there must be good communication, explanation, so that we are not misinformed. Remember, when there is accurate information, there is also people that are misinforming people. Remember, opposition is there to question, is this good or bad? In the manner they may not understand certain things, A Zambian who just listens, who watches on television to say, oh, Given Rubinda said this, Lafana Kachinda said this, Tayari said this, they will be misled. Now, we need facts from the government through the communication leaders. And that is a government spokesperson. He must be able to explain, number one, in this cybercrime, bill, there is this, there is this, there is this, there is this. Then let them wait for the reaction from people. Because there are certain things we can just approve without knowing that they have certain things that will lock us tomorrow. Remember the 2016 amendment constitution signed by our former head of state. He was just even signing without understanding what is provided for. So there is need to have ample time because we want to have a constitution, laws that will stand the test of time. Remember, the constitution that we have is a borrowed constitution by our colonial masters. Many other countries that are serving well, they've started having their own laws because some of the laws were not suitable even for us. So now, the consultation when presenting and submitting such laws must have a broader consultation, just like the constitutional amendment process. For sure, it does not need every Zambian, only few people that are engaged to submit what should be considered or amended. Then that's when now it's brought to the public for scrutiny.
Okay,
this is not final. We hope our MPs that we voted into office to represent us in parliament, they are there to vote for things that are good for the Zambians and not using political interest or personal interest in order for them maybe to deter somebody to communicate to the people. It must be freely done so that you that are independent media houses, me who is an advocate, and the other opposition political party are able to disseminate information freely. When they break the law, let there be a law that prosecute people that breaks cyber laws.
Mr. Mutumba, the people that you mentioned, the people that you mentioned both in the opposition and in the ruling, we have noticed that those that are mandated to communicate effectively and efficiently to the Zambian people have been inconsistent.
Yeah, the challenge has
we have been
that
told there's a draft constitution. No, there's no draft constitution. No, we don't need to consult because we are only going to amend certain clauses and articles of the constitution. So there shouldn't be any consultations.
Joe, when Bill 10 came in the last regime, whom did they consult?
Even the people that were advocating for Bill 10, when you asked them, they did not even understand the contents of Bill 10.
That's the
so
difference
now,
I'm giving.
If that was wrong, why should this be considered to be right under the UPNP?
We must just explain. The problem has been how we explain national issues and matters.
And this is a country.
And we must also give a guide on how certain processes are done. Zambians must understand.
Exactly.
When you are doing a draft, you don't consult opposition. You don't consult a larger number of stakeholders. You call certain representatives. This is what we want to do. We want to amend the constitution. What is your view? So an institution that deals with law are consulted. Okay? So the government in power can consult whoever they want. That is where we need to change the laws. Joe, you didn't get me. A government in power is mandated.
Okay.
Okay? At their own principles of consulting, they will engage whom they want. They will not come to you, Joe, if they don't consider you. They will come to me if they consider me. Dennis, you are a human rights advocate. We want you to be part of this amendment process. We are doing submissions to make a draft.
That's why I have a challenge.
So now, if we are to come up with a law in the constitution that before any draft is done, it must come to the public to tell the people that we want to do a draft constitution. Therefore, we are calling upon interested stakeholders. We don't have such a law in the constitution. I can challenge the Minister of Justice. I can challenge the government of the day. We don't have that provision. We only have a provision where the government considers whom they want to consult as they make a draft constitution. And so PF did the same thing. This is the law they would have come up before they complained. Because if they had done it earlier on before UPN came into power, would have said this is the provision and the constitution that is standing a test of time because it's unchangeable, it's unamended.
Now, Mr. Mutumba, another concern from the Zambian people is, yes, constitutional amendments are welcome. It is provided for in the constitution of Zambia itself. Delimitation is provided for in the Zambian constitution. They are welcome. Constitutional amendments are necessary. You refine, you fine-tune your constitution to what suits you at that particular time as a country. We're in the 21st century. We are not in 1964 when we first gained independence. People have evolved, minds have evolved, and the population has increased, the population of Zambia. Now, the question is, that I would like to ask the Justice Minister, if I had audience with her, is, number one, why not look at the present happenings of defilement and begin to fine-tune our constitution to make stiffer laws to perpetrators of child defilement? Because that is what is happening right now, number one. Number two, why not stiffen the punishment when it comes to corruption? Because currently we are hearing proceeds of crime. Somebody has been given 2 years suspended sentence. Somebody has been given 5 years with hard labor. And we hear the anti-corruption itself. Not that we are suggesting, it was in public domain. They came, they invited the media, and it was on our screens where they said, we are investigating current sitting ministers. And when the investigations are done, we will come to you, the media, and announce these ministers that we are investigating. That matter has died a natural death. Those ministers haven't been mentioned. Under President Michael Sata, we saw 3 ministers being investigated, suspended, and taken out of government. We saw permanent secretaries. The same thing happened to them. One of the ministers is now serving in Mukobeko. That was fired by President Sata. President Lungu brought him back, but he's serving now in Mukobeko. One of the ministers died, unfortunately. May he so rest in peace. Now, we have seen these things happening. Why are we not seeing laws being stiffened when it comes to corruption, when it comes to defilement cases? Why should we begin to enact laws or advocate for the enactment of laws that hinge on freedom of expression, that hinge on somebody going live and then they require a license? No, you need to undertake this law and the like. Why should be that the case when we need to stiffen laws that border on the lives of the Zambian people, on that girl child, on that boy child?
Joe, we need to advocate for a lot of amendments in our constitution. Our constitution has a lot of vetoes. What you are talking about will not be appearing on the submission of this draft constitution, but it is the fact that there must be stiff punishment on defiers.
Yes.
The Minister of Justice was just highlighting Parliament of an incident that happened, where she was even asking these men who are defiling young children, why not come for us?
Because the laws are lenient.
You get the point. So now we must set a precedence where when one defiles his daughter, any small child must save life imprisonment.
With hard labor.
With hard labor. This is what we should do, submit and advocate for. But now, because we don't have a provision or a clause in the constitution that indicate or is provided for that, we must first of all bring it to the public. May all stakeholders in the country submit where they feel we should amend the constitution or maybe change the constitution. If this provision was there, but now it only talks about the government in power can draft what they want to amend and bring it for public consumption. If what you are saying can be taken into consideration, we would have had many laws that helps Zambians, protect Zambians. But the issue has been what was supposed to be done way back by politicians that we vote into office is now taking time. It requires to remind the politician that we need this law to be amended. For example, the forfeiture clause provision, in the Act of ACCA, where when I'm found with millions of dollars, I can just maybe forfeit that money to the state, then I go free. We've seen this happening. Why can't we remove that provision in the act? So all these things must be now thought about, so that we have a constitution that will stand a test of time. Now, if today we are going to amend the 4 clauses, the next leadership will amend maybe 201, or reverse the amendment to say, no, we are removing this completely. Then meaning even our generation will continue to suffer, because there are other vulnerable people that needs protection now, not tomorrow. You get the point? So now, there is a lot. That's why us as advocates, sometimes we must write to the government that this is our thought, so that quickly certain important, laws can be put in place and enacted. But we have a lot of challenges where our laws are concerned. Cyber issues are very tense.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Mutumba. Do we need political will in everything that this country is involved in? Do we need political will at every aspect of dealing with national matters? We have, for instance, seen countries that have got independent laws. A minister is involved in contract awarding, for instance. He's awarded the contract, they did not declare interest. They are told, step aside on moral grounds. They resign. On moral grounds, they just resign. Do we need political will in everything that happens? Don't we have laws that mandate us to do certain things and not to do certain things? Do we need everything to be political will?
It's not on everything where we need political will, but politicians or politics requires to monitor, the policies that are put in place. We don't need to have sleeping leaders, because our leaders that are governing these countries, they are politicians with the help of technocrats and also other independent, institutions like NGOs. They should voice out, just like you have said. Equally me, the problem is, I cannot speak if I'm affiliated to the current government.
That's where the challenge is.
That's where the challenge is. Even these so-called, civil society organizations, most of the civil society organizations are affiliated to political parties, such that when the current government is governing, there is no one who can voice out. But being a civil society organization, you are there to partner with the government to, to highlight and make awareness, to educate,
to give an oversight.
Yes. But there are very few political governments that are coming into power who wants to partner with the NGOs to leave them independent, to give a guide, to counsel. Because, for example, my organization, if I feel something is not okay, I must have a free time to meet the government leaders and advise them. This is how we feel. Or maybe open up. But today, when you speak against the current government, you become an enemy. You are cited to be in opposition or sponsored by the opposition. But which is not the case.
But my question, Mr. Mutumba, is that first of all, we need to mature enough as a people where we remove emotions from national matters. It doesn't matter which political party you support. At the end of the day, these are matters that border on Zambia. And the interest of the Zambians out there is what kind of Zambia is, or what kind of Zambia will their children inherit in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years, when most of these politicians that are there won't be there. Some of them would have been retired, some of them would have gone to be with the Lord at that particular time. So what kind of Zambia do they want to live? Devoid of a political affiliation, devoid of ethnic grouping, devoid of religious affiliation. At the end of the day, Zambia has to come first. But I'll tell you what most Zambians are saying out there. Some sections of Zambians what they're saying. They're saying they've lost confidence in politicians because you, the advocates, are quiet, and when you wear your political cap, you have disappointed them, because when you are in opposition, you are angels. when you get into government, you tend to be the devil's advocate. You stop representing the same people that you pledged and sought to protect. We go to the Copper Belt. The contractors and suppliers at the named mining company are complaining. They are complaining they're not being paid, they are being sidelined. The Minister of Mines is quiet, the provincial minister is quiet, the area member of parliament is quiet, government spokespersons are quiet, current party spokespersons are quiet. People are suffering on the Power Belt. The Jarabos are not working. They are suffering. Nobody is addressing these matters. And now we are beginning to come up with laws that will restrict these people from expressing themselves on their phones. Because at the end of the day, you are not addressing their concerns. They chose you to go to parliament to represent them, but you're not representing them. They go live on social media to express their grievances. You want to restrict them from expressing their grievances.
Joe,
what kind of a country are we turning into, Mr. Mutumba?
When something is presented for approval or enactment, is subject to be scrutinized. Restricting people to communicate and air their divergent views, that is unacceptable to me. The recent matter in the Copper Belt of, is it Frank Zimba, if not mistaken, this is a voice of the UPND in many other good developmental activities done by the UPND. But a few days ago, we saw Frank Zimba communicating, sharing his grievances over Mopani transaction and the contractor who is not doing as expected. And we have seen another advocate, okay, an activist, a young youth, is it Matomora, also joined the flank in supporting his grievances. And we saw a number of suppliers, okay, also sharing out. Now, if such a law would be put in place that I should not express my divergent view
using my phone,
then it's not a good law. What is supposed to be done is just to maintain the laws that forbid me to insult on social media, using vulgar language, intimidating you, or maybe bullying you on social media. These are laws that should be maintained and brought into effectiveness and be implemented. So that law, if truly the MPs we sent to parliament will support restricting us to communicate, even to, sometimes I may not mean to the president, but if I air something on social media, the president or maybe the communicators in the government will be able to say, oh, Mutumba has said this, then they weigh what I've said, and from there act from what I've said. If it is not good, if I've insulted, there is a law that forbids me from doing so. So now, when that is presented in parliament, it's up to the parliamentarians. We need now, when we sit on the platform like this one, tell the MP to adopt good laws and leave out bad ones. That is what I should tell my MP from where I come from, to say, as you go to approve that law, put up this regulation, make sure you're bringing regulation that will benefit you, because if you are not able to use social media, how are you going to even communicate in the next year's election? Because communication is better for people to access it, especially in the digital era. We need to use cyber network.
Okay. Mr. Mutumba, as we conclude on this matter, most Zambians are saying, is this, you say Zambians do not like to read, but it's you, the politicians, the parliamentarians, the lawmakers, that hide this information from a Zambian for them not to read. You just want to come to them and begin to read to them, but you hide that information where they are supposed to scrutinize and decide for themselves. We saw this happening during the Kaunda regime. The MMD tried by all means to be as proactive and accommodative as they could be. You can tell from the cabinet that they had up to until the Mwanawasa regime. The Rupia Banda regime didn't stay for that long, so we can't give that as an example. But in the tenure of the MMD, you could see the caliber of their cabinet and how they conducted national matters. Fast forward to the PF and the UPND. Obviously, you know what the story is when it comes to communication and conducting matters, national matters, and it goes for both parties, the UPND and the PF. Some feathers will be rattled out there, but the truth needs to be spoken, and we remain truthful to the cause of being independent. Now, Mr. Mutumba, as we go, let me finally find out from you, having addressed all these issues on this particular platform, what are your concluding remarks? How should the Zambians conduct themselves, knowing that we are only remaining with 16 months to the general elections, where people will be hired and fired by the Zambian people? The bosses, the voters, will now be hiring and firing these politicians. How should they conduct themselves? What should they do in the interim as we wait for 2026?
It is the duty of civil society organization, traditional leaders, religious institution, and the stakeholders to remind the Zambians that if they make a mistake to choose leaders that have disappointed them because they'll be given handouts, then they should not blame anybody.
Okay.
Few months from now, next year, in August, we are going to vote. We should only vote for leaders that listen, leaders that are very humble, leaders that have delivered, because this government of the UPND has given millions to all 156 constituencies. And we've had leaders also that has overstayed. We want people to make sure that they change new blood. It is the president who is saying we need more young people in leadership, in parliament, including women. Why should we keep old-aged people? They are tiring and they need to retire. So my voice and my admonition to the electorates in Zambia everywhere, they must not vote for leaders who are quantity leaders, but they must vote for leaders who are quality leaders. Let me give a difference between a quantity leader and a quality leader.
Okay.
A quantity leader is a leader who sells himself by using money. But a quality leader is a person who has the capacity to deliver because he's selfless and he prioritizes people first than his pocket.
Okay.
So it's up to the people now to choose the right leader because they understand what they are passing through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mutumba, as we go, I'm being reminded by my director to quickly chip in into our newspaper so that you can look at the headlines for this particular day, which is May 26th, 2025. Dear director, maybe we can have those newspapers as we go. Okay, so we go to the broadsheet state-owned newspaper, the Zambia Daily Mail. Now, it comes with a headline, Mr. Mutumba, there as you can see. The headline reads, and I quote quickly, okay, there we go. Constitutional Amendment Kasune to table sticky clauses. I think we talked about this. The Minister of Justice will be coming through this particular week to give us a roadmap on which clauses or articles that are yet to be amended. We can go to the next one, dear director. Okay, we go to the News Diggers, another indigenous daily tabloid. Government defends agro-fuel, even PF use them, says minister as he fails to give figures. Yes, the Minister of Energy failed to give figures yesterday. We saw that there was a question from Nalolo Member of Parliament who asked him to say, if agro-fuel were using the pipeline, how much were they paying, the Tazama pipeline that is, how much were they paying to the government, because they are required to pay a certain amount. The minister on the floor of the House yesterday, the Minister of Energy, Honorable Makozo Chikote, the Luampa Member of Parliament, failed to give figures and failed to answer most of the questions that were being directed to him. We watched Parliament religiously yesterday. Mr. Mutumba, quickly on agro-fuel.
You know, this problem has been even in the previous government.
Okay.
But let us consider Zambians under this stressful economy. When fuel is increasing and not reducing, it affects you economically.
Okay.
Because everything, trading, transport is a major contributor to a good economy. So fuel has maintained that price and it's even increasing. So now, these issues of, transaction of fuel, there is one gentleman who is saying fuel in Malawi is more cheaper than in Zambia because the same suppliers in Malawi is also still supplying Zambia.
Okay.
So there have been a lot of political, investigation to find out why is it that maybe the same fuel that is costing about maybe 100 and something million US dollars is costing about 50 million plus in Malawi, meaning fuel in Malawi is more cheaper. You get the point? Now, these matters must be well considered by the government. They must investigate what could be the drama that is causing fuel to increase. Do you know up to now, the explanation of fuel high prices has not been fully explained to the people. We need good communicators to explain mathematics of why fuel is expensive and what are some of the solutions the government is looking at to ease, motorists to buy cheaper fuel.
Okay.
Government must find a solution. So now, if government is defending the agro fuel,
that PF used it, so we are also using
no, every government that
is that an objective answer?
No. Every government that comes must find a solution to better things than they were. So talking about times, I heard somebody was saying, no, in Kaunda era fuel was 1 kwacha, under MMD it was 10 kwacha, under PF it was 100 kwacha, under blah blah. That is not, you must just make things easier. You look at the income that people are collecting and how economic activities are done. How will it be cheaper for them to buy expensive fuel? When you go to America, fuel is more expensive than Zambia, but the economy is okay. So when you work on economy, it is very easy for people to buy anything, even when it is expensive, because they have access to good income that enables them to buy that which may be said to be expensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on fuel, the minister yesterday on the floor of Parliament, Mr. Mutumba, did make mention that how much did the PF find fuel during the MMD, and how much did they leave it at? It was at 17 kwacha per litre. But look at why the UPND have taken it. And the UPND are the ones that told the Zambian people that they will reduce fuel pump prices. They told the Zambian people that the PF were stealing 3 kwacha because of middlemen. So now the question is, where is that 3 kwacha going today? We go to the next daily tabloid, dear director. I think it's the Mast newspaper, Mr. Mutumba, which runs with the headline, NGOCC, a bunch of jokers, says Katuta. It's a crime scene, Parliament riddled with illegalities. Stop harassing journalists, Mr. Ages Police. We have one of our colleagues, Mr. Mutumba, from Mazabuka, who is detained in police custody as we speak right now. Why? It's because he was being harassed with UPND cadres harassed him. He reported the matter to the police. Instead of arresting or detaining the people that were harassing this reporter, they decided to detain the reporter. And yesterday, Honorable Gary Nkombo was in Mazabuka, and the journalists there bundled themselves together and said, we are not going to cover you. We are not going to cover you because you've detained one of our own. These are the things that the UPND condemned during the Patriotic Front. These are the things that the UPND said will allow you, the reporters, the journalists, the media, to operate freely without any interference. However, one of our colleagues is in police custody as we speak right now because of reporting things that were happening. Should that be the case, Mr. Mutumba, and seeing that 2026 is on the horizon?
It's a sad revelation, Joe. This is not how things must be done. But I'm following the issue and I read it. So I'm waiting for a communication from the spokesperson under the Zambia Police in Southern Province, who is going to give us an update, because when other communicators communicated to him, he says, I will issue a statement on how far that matter has reached. It is very sad that cadres or anyone else should injure or maybe attack journalists. You must be protected. Anywhere in the world, even where there is, tense wars, civil wars, journalists are protected.
Exactly.
Unless by mistake, they are hit with a bullet. Because those that are fighting, they need coverage. You get the point. If they are fighting because of some reasons, it is a journalist who communicates to us, who should be able to disseminate information so that certain, resolutions can be brought forward. But it is very sad when I heard about that. I was very much aggrieved. But I wanted to understand the story. What could have caused the police to detain such a person? You get the point? So now there is a need to protect the journalist. Few days ago, the president was telling the journalist, I think you followed that. He says, go and disseminate information the way it is. Don't spice it. Meaning is giving freedom and protection to the journalist. These are our communicators. So there is no way you'd begin to fight, beat up, journalists, intimidate them, infringe their rights. It's not okay. So it is the duty of our government now to follow up that matter and resolve. And at the end of the day, where law has been broken, then we must consider how do we handle this matter. But it's sad. You must be protected, Joe, because you are the communicator on behalf of the government for any information that Zambians would need.
Okay, fantastic. Mr. Mutumba, we need to go. And the last one, obviously, is Daily Revelation, which says youths taking over leadership in 2026, says Biflo Brian Wembia, as he, Kings Malembe, denounced old Katuta's anti-youth crusade. Now, okay, this comes at the backdrop of Honorable Given Katuta, the Chiengi Member of Parliament, saying that the old MPs, quote in quote, should protect their seats because youths are coming and they are coming to take over power. And she said the same way parliamentarians agree when they want to increase their allowances, and they agree together without petitioning, without a point of order, they agree that we should get so much allowances. It's the same thing they should agree going into 2026. That's what she said. Last week they were getting their gratuities,
yes,
which is over in millions, and yet in some of their constituencies we do not even have running water. We still have children that are going days without eating. We do not have health posts in some of these constituencies, and yet parliamentarians are given colossal sums of money as gratuity for sitting in parliament, and sometimes for saying yeah. Mr. Mutumba,
we are taking over from these old-aged leaders that are in office because some have overstayed, some are new, but we need active brains so that all these matters we are talking about can be digested, exhausted in a parliament with fresh blood. Of course, we need old people that are experienced, but they should not overstay.
They can be used as consultants.
Yes, we are today's leader and the future. So, I want to tell you, the only thing that I'll confirm to you is that many MPs, council chairpersons, even the councillors are going in 2026. I don't want to talk about the president. I want to talk about these that are overstayed. It is not wamuyaya. Nikupasirana. Even me, I will tell you, if I go for council chairmanship, I want to stay for 110.
Okay.
Because in 5 years, there is a lot that I can do. But if I am selfless to serve the people.
But power is sweet.
No, if it is sweet, then it's a business.
It's sweet.
And I want to tell you, Joe, when you don't see development in your constituency, the development is in the pocket of somebody else.
Nice one. Nice one, Mr. Mutumba. Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mutumba, and thank you, the viewers out there, for choosing us amongst many, and obviously for staying loyal to Camnet TV and the Rise and Thrive Breakfast Show. Thank you so much to everyone that chose us this particular morning, and thank you to Mr. Mutumba, my director upstairs, Mr. Elias Chilela. Thank you so much for the extra minutes. We do appreciate you. I have been your host, Tapelo Joe Smata is my name. We'll see you when you see us. Good morning and God bless.